Alright, hello everybody. Good evening, good morning, whatever time it is for you. We are finally getting into one of the first matches that will be streamed for Ascension Cup. And it is going to be T1 versus A Swing and A. But commentating with me is going to be none other than Dynascape. Hello, how are you doing?
I am doing great. Excited for the inaugural match of Abstraction Cup. And what a way to start it off, right? I mean, we've got T1, Seed 1. Everyone knows Neptune Hello Sun. And, well, for the other team of Swingina, they've got their work cut out for them.
Yeah, but we are slowly getting into the roles. And Bands Protects, I believe. I think T1 won the role. I can't be certain though.
I think they are, but to be honest, they should be fine with pretty much anything in the pool. Really, what is kind of the question mark is what Team Blue wants to pick.
Yeah.
And obviously when you're going against the back-to-back world champs, like, you know, what do you do? But we got to keep things positive. Anything can happen. Gamma beams may come crashing down on one of their computers. So with Mario Ruffin here, we've got Protect Rice 4 from Team Blue. So it seems like they probably want to go with more mixed rice tech picks.
Yep, and we immediately see a Rice 2 then. So I guess it could be alluding to like what you just said. Why stay in that more kind of mixed area?
It is pretty interesting to see Rice protect and ban, but it feels like they probably don't want to go with like slow-ish hand stream, and T1 actually banning out Rice 6, so striking down any more mixed rice slash tech picks in the pool. So Magi map out. I'd assume they'll probably be more geared towards the LN. So yeah, LN2 is coming out. And well, first pick up ahead, Pascal Beats. Really interesting song to play on. It's Ballistic LN, and pretty much very simple 1/4 long notes, couple anchors, not too much density. Obviously this is round of 64, so we'll see how Team Blue does on LNs and hybrids, but I think the true test is trying to eke out anything from them when it comes to the rice picks.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, it's LN2. I think most people are kind of familiar with LN2 just being the kind of density pick in general. And that is what this is going to be for the most part, although there's still some of this kind of like trickiness to it. So it's not like a completely free one.
No, by no means is it free. However, you already see the accuracy discrepancy adding up here. Nexility at about a 99.5, Neptune holding steady at a 99.96, so already garnering a 3,000 point lead. Only a fourth of the way through the map too.
And as we're kind of going by, do you see Nexility having a little bit of trouble in the accuracy side, but both players are still staying consistent, which, I mean, when we start to get into like a round like this one, and especially a tournament like this where like the pools are going to be harder than most tournaments, that combo is going to be really important.
100%, because really these map pools speak to your consistency, they speak to your accuracy. So obviously any misses are not what's to be expected from anything from mid to high seas in this tournament. But I will say Nexility getting this kind of score is quite impressive. 99.45 is really good, especially after seeing 2/3 of the way through. It's just you're up against an unstoppable force.
Oh yeah. But as we're going by, I mean, it's more of these just patterns that most people are kind of familiar with when it comes to like these density patterns. There's a good amount of like hold strain within it at least, so it's not like a completely easy to act density pick, but it still has like its form of like mini or inverse every now and then as well.
Exactly, and you can see a little bit over here. Map is trying to close out. Neptune has fallen a little bit in terms of accuracy, but nothing doing. 14,000 points is going to be at least a 3, 4, 5 miss buffer for him as T1 taking the first map.
Almost a 998.
Is it weird to say that I feel like that's like on the lower end of scores for Nep on this map? Probably. Like
I mean, I don't blame
would.
you. I don't blame you.
Yeah.
But still, like, just seeing something like that, especially when like we're still in like these like, I guess like this kind of like awkward like, it's not mid game, but it's not like early game LN.
Exactly. It is early game LN, and well, that's one of the 3 LN pools done for Team Blue. Up to pick next. They did have R4 available and also really R5 if they wanted to go for that as well. But I mean, pretty trapped in their choices.
Yeah, I would assume they probably go for one of the rice, just given that like they did protect one, I believe. But they also did ban one, like, but it is on the simpler side that they did ban, so I could easily see something along the lines of maybe like Rice 3 or Rice 4.
Yeah, I could see that too. Really, it just kind of depends on what their game plan is, because if your plan is to try to force any misses, because that's the only viable way you see yourself winning a map, it would probably do you better to go for something like Rise 5 instead of Rise 4, because the dumpy intro and stuff like that might maybe catch whoever's playing that map out. But no, instead they're gonna go for Rise 1.
Yeah, Rise 1's definitely a little bit of a stranger pick. At least in terms of like the skill set as testing, and more so like the kind of like speed aspect. It doesn't play like your traditional speed pick, which was mentioned, and it's very obvious if you've seen within the showcase as well.
Exactly, and a lot of people no stranger to this map by Monheim. Very dumpy, very flowy. It flows really well on the hands, but sometimes it can get a little dense. I mean, I feel like the variability on the dumpiness of this map is quite large relative to the slow parts. So something can happen here for Team Blue. It's just how is Neptune feeling this day? Do his fingers feel like working?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you that, and especially just given like my experience playing this pick, it's very easy to kind of just like lose control of like that kind of like, I guess, snap change, where like within like a, I guess, more like straightforward dump pick, you're used to like these like snaps that are very like linear, but in this you have like a lot of like variation within it, which makes it just a little bit extra harder.
Exactly, like some dump picks you'll have like just straight 1/6 sections, or 1/8 sections. With this one, you do swap a lot between like 1/4, 1/6, 1/8, right?
Yeah.
And so there is something to be concerned about when it comes to accuracy for either player.
Yeah, especially within like a bit of like a more early side. I mean, it probably won't be as detrimental having like all these like varying snaps, just because like with given like the lower BPM, it's not gonna like get like too fast easily, but there's still room for that.
Yodi is doing quite well, managing to keep their accuracy up in this little intro by a good amount. I mean, not trailing too far behind Nep. Seems like it's about a 300-point difference, but now we'll really see once things start to pick up, can they keep this accuracy?
Yeah, so far it's extremely close, and a lot closer compared to the last pick, which, I mean, I guess it makes a bit of sense given that we are within like the rice department, and especially within like more recent times where you're just seeing players' accuracy improve heavily and just getting really high within that 0.9 range as well.
Exactly. I feel like and you have to remember, this is like the bottom seed, right? But for them to be scoring this high, like a 99.83, I think has only gotten one grade so far. that speaks a lot about like how much the player base has evolved in terms of rice accuracy slash physicality in general, and also dump reading.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially just given that like, I think dumps are just becoming a lot more standardized within like a pool setting, especially within like early game slots now. Where I think I would usually say back then it used to be a little bit more in like the later game side.
Yeah, I would say like dumps were usually reserved for like a Rice 7 kind of thing, but like now we're seeing it as like a very standard, Rice 4 in high octane tournaments and stuff like that. You'll see it in the early rounds, just like here. And so, I mean, Yodi's doing great, 99.8. Unfortunately, Nep is just doing better. We're about 2/3 of the way through. This is a quite a long map, 3.5 minutes. So there is time for something to happen on Neptune's side, maybe a miss, something like that. However, I don't know. I think Neptune might have built enough of a buffer to negate a miss.
Maybe, I mean, especially just given that like a lot of these like rice picks are very long, so like in an early game setting you would expect misses to be much more detrimental, but given like how lengthy they are, like it's so much easier, like you said, to just negate those misses if you're able to just win off of pure accuracy.
Yep, and another dense section coming in here. This is the last one of the map. Yodi has fallen just a little bit in accuracy, 99.79. And I mean, Neptune absolutely crushing it. Might see another FC from him as Map tries to close out. I mean, the patterning gets a little bit harder from the start, but it's just like nothing really changes for Nep, right?
Yeah.
99.8, almost 8
It's
yet
literally
again.
like the
It's
same
just
score.
come on now. Yeah, it is.
Like it's literally like double digit difference, maybe even like a single digit difference compared to like the last pick.
I'm checking right now. It's 56. So yes,
Yeah.
insanely close from the last map as well. Nep just can't seem to get the 998, but obviously this score is good enough to beat out the Swingita yet again. And well, T1's up 2-0. They have the next pick. They still have 2 LNs, 3 hybrids if they want to even go there. But time's ticking for Team Blue.
Immediately going into LN3 are more kind of like technical. I guess in a sense you could almost call it like a wild card pick in a sense.
Yeah, 100%. This is also a very long LN map as well,
Yeah.
so we get back-to-back long maps. But I'm a little surprised with LN3. Maybe they just wanted to play the custom, but I feel like they Blue team has kind of showed that they aren't too good in terms of coordination, right? So
Yeah.
I feel like LO1 could have been the pick, but I mean, obviously this is fine as well. Probably, the most awkward pick out of the 3 LNs. So just trying to force any bad judgments from Team Blue.
Yeah, I mean, it's like one of the, I think even in like the description, it states that like, it's kind of like a mix of like this like coordination and like technical pick. And you'll see it even within like this pick. There's a lot of like sections that almost act as like a coordination pick, but there's still the other parts which help differentiate it from a like pure coordination pick.
Just waiting. Oh, we did get Hello Sun in here. So T1 making that swap next to Lily. Seems like they are the LN player for Team Blue, and Yodi's the Rice player. And so, well, we'll see how this goes. I mean, obviously, Hello Sun, very, very good. Part of that Team USA core of Nep, him, and whoever else for the third in basically any map, right? And so you just know he's good at any skill set, and see if they can do well on this map. What is that background, by the way? What does it say?
It's something I only remember it's with like the Arcat copy pasta.
Oh, okay, there we go. I was like, because I saw it was by a lot, and I saw, the funny background, but I couldn't couldn't read it.
You are very
the
disgusting.
gameplay's in the way.
Cat.
All right. This is mean.
It's okay, we love our cat.
We do.
Yeah, but not too much going on for now at least. So I guess it gave us a little bit of buffer to kind of understand the background, but we're slowly starting to get into the part that everyone's just familiar with.
And here we go. Things ramp up. The releases get a little awkward. You have a little bit more density, and Wilson doing very well on this Nextility. A lot of 200s, mostly on the later side. I would assume that's for the releases. And so bringing their accuracy down to 99 means that T1 is going to have a 6,000 point lead, and we're only a third of the map way through.
Yeah, especially as we just kind of continue on through this. If the accuracies kind of stay the same, at least Oli's just going to continue growing, especially with just like the kind of combo that this pick has as well.
Yeah, those like interjects I thought would maybe trip Nextility up, but no, they actually played through that just fine. I think it's mostly just trouble with the releases is the main thing, and really I think that's what a lot of the lower seeds would struggle on, is not necessarily comboing through it, but rather just getting as high of an accuracy as possible, which is what kind of separates lower seeds from mid seeds a lot of the time.
Yeah, I mean, especially with like more recent times where like even like more like Rice dominate players are starting to be able to like kind of combo LN charts. There's still like this huge barrier between people who are like, I guess, more well-rounded or just LN mains in general. And it's like you said, it's just that kind of release aspect that really pushes it towards if someone's like in that more well-rounded side.
Yeah, and speaking like more broadly to the tournament as a whole, especially when you only have a team size of 2, that this is why you need to come in with like a balanced team, right? You need to have some coverage in every aspect of the map pool, and obviously Team Blue has the versatility of Nextility on these LNs and Yodi on Rice, but just unfortunate that they have to go up against T1. Hello Sun 99.91 as we get into this funny little section. 17,000 points of a difference. Map is only about a fourth left, but I would say that this one is definitely a swing and a miss for Team Blue, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, even a pick like this one's just really hard to hold on to combo. Especially for, like, an LN pick with, like, how, like, these shields are and just the kind of, like, weird rhythms that come in between as well.
Man, this map seems so mean compared to like LN2, right?
Yeah.
This feels like such a jump, and you really do see that with I think Nextility had something like a 99.4 on the last map, and now, or 99.33, and now 99.11. So obviously, I think it's just the LN3 slot is always really hard, but
yeah.
Hello Sun making light work of that. 99 or 994. Yes, and they got the car honk too. I don't want to say it before it happened, but ended up getting car honk, and T1 secures their third point, and it's just replaying.
Yeah,
it's just replaying.
Yeah, it's gonna be like that for like a solid minute, I think. Yeah.
Feels like I'm on the highway at 5:30.
Literally. Yeah, but it is going to be okay. Now it reset.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah, but it is going to be T1. A swing and a pick. Okay, immediately going for Rice 4. I guess one of the picks that like we kind of alluded to earlier, especially given like Rice 2 being banned.
Yeah, but this being their potential last map, I feel like you kind of had to go for your protect, right? And so we're gonna see some Biosphere in here, another Biosphere's flashbulb charts, and well, this was kind of like their ace up their sleeve, right?
Yeah.
This is what they are putting all their marbles into when it comes to what they think is their best chance in getting a point off of T1. So let's see what they have. I mean, Neptune is coming in for this, and we do have Yodi, and I will say I think Yodi has been keeping it pretty close, all things considered. I mean, a 9-9 1.5 on Rice 1 was a really good performance, so hoping to see something like that for this map as well.
Yeah, I mean, especially given like the OD9 was in this pick, accuracy is definitely going to be such a more like crucial factor. But
calm little start. This is not like Rice 1 where you have 3.5 minutes of build up and a lot of things can happen in there. No, this one is 2 minutes. It's on the shorter side in terms of this map pool, I feel, and well, you've got to make it work really quickly, right? And so Yodi 99.74, not really the accuracy I was expecting, but it seems like they are having a little bit of trouble keeping that MA as high as possible.
yeah, I mean, especially just given the fact that like a pick like this one, like the main sections come by very quickly near the end, and then all of a sudden you realize that it's all over. So even despite it being like 2 minutes, it feels more like a 1 minute 30 pick to me.
Exactly, right? Because like, the long intro and all of that.
Yeah.
But I mean, Yodi did pretty well on that fourth column anchor, and I think with this map, it's a little bit like Rice 1 where you have the calm sections and then you kind of break out into the rhythmic sections with the drums, and it speeds up very, very quickly. And so, I mean, some of these patterns are pretty mean, but both players squeaking by with very high accuracy.
Yeah, it's like this kind of like bursty gameplay. Like it's not like I guess like later game like technical files where like you have like a lot of these like really wonky patterns all at once. More just like these kind of bursts of patterns of like more familiar patterns, but it could still trip some people off guard, especially like where we have like these like slower sections.
Exactly, and well, pretty calm section, but there's like one last little thing where they'll try to get a lot of score on this last little 10th.
Little funny streams. It's just these kind of trills going back and forth.
I think I've secured the 998. Oh yeah,
there we
you
go.
got it this time. Yodi again, not too bad. I mean, only 3 200s with a 99 or 990 and a half. I feel like Yodi's scores would probably beat out the Rice players in some of the other like lower seeds. So I think they have potential. It obviously match is not done. T1 still has a pick left, but if they hypothetically do go to the lower bracket, they have some pretty solid scores, right? And also good consistency. We haven't seen a miss so far.
Yeah. Yeah, but immediately going into the LN1 though, and a pick like this one, not gonna be as like technically demanding as something like LN3, but it's definitely gonna be a lot more like kind of chord focused, especially given like the inversely gameplay in this.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I don't know, like T1's at Team Blue's door. It's gonna be rough for them. Nextility, you have to try to do your best to obviously play as consistent as you were doing, and really it's just kind of like banking on Neptune missing, I feel, at this point. Just like seeing the score differences for these LN maps, I think it's more or less not wishing for like any bad judgments, but rather entire combo breaks.
Yeah, especially on like a pick like this one where like, I mean, I guess all the picks in general were like the accuracy is just like so high, but I would think maybe something like this one would probably especially be on Nep's radar, just given like the kind of like inversely gameplay that's in here. You can kind of see it here already as well.
Yeah, Nextility doing pretty well. I mean, a couple of 200s on these sections and a lot of actually late releases with these weirder inverses. So Unfortunately, T1 9,000 points of a lead, and the map just started.
Yeah, and you get like a lot of these kind of like really mean like inverse bursts as well. So like there's still like that sense of like technicality, but like it all comes down to that finger control, especially given that like it's inverse, and especially at this speed, the gaps aren't like too close, but they're noticeable where you can't really like play it as like a full LN chart.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say that like for a round of 64, this is a lot more like dense in terms of the inverse than I was expecting, and also I feel like some of the anchors are really weird in being 1/4. You know, it's not like your very standard low SR inverse map where like it's very like one-sided, just 1/4. There's not really any crazy anchoring or patterning or anything like that. No, like for this map, it actually throws a lot at you in terms of what you're saying with finger control.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a welcome change as well. Yeah, but as we're kind of going through this next course though, it's gonna bring a lot more of these like faster patterns and more of like these like 3-lane inverse patterns.
Yeah, some of these are just downright mean. I feel like it would catch out a lot of people if they're not well practiced on it. But again, even though Nextility is behind by a lot, I'm very surprised at their ability to combo something like this and be really consistent. So although T1 is going to take the match and Neptune is going to get another 9979 again.
No 998.
I am extremely impressed with how Team Blue has played this match.
Yeah, I mean, when you're like in a situation like this where you have to face seed 1, there's not much you can do, but you could still do really good. And I think this is another kind of example of just being able to do really good. I mean, holding FCs throughout the entire pool.
Exactly. And so, well, T1 first stream match of the weekend, and they're gonna go ahead into the next round through the winner's side to no one's surprise. But what should be said is that Team Blue, I mean, Swing and they could really hit the ball out of the park in the losers bracket, because Yodi's pretty scary when it comes to rise accurate. It seems like we'll see how they do from the jump to round of 64 to round of 32. But also Nextility is very consistent on LN, so I think they have a good duo going on, and I'd love to see where they end up next week.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we still have losers bracket, which is gonna be a complete hellfest once we start to see like who gets in and out.
Yep, but I mean, that's gonna do it for this match. Obviously, there are a heck of a lot more matches to go. We've got one 4 hours from now, and then you can just kind of see that huge block starting at 12 UTC. So I mean, if you're in the Asian time zones, you are eating well, Asia or Europe. And so I mean, Znow, a lot more matches, a lot more things to see with how Abstraction Cup turns out. But it's gonna be it for you and me. Anything else you'd like to say?
Nothing much else to say, just be on the lookout for these matches because there's going to be a lot of interesting ones coming up as we kind of go on.
Exactly, so stick around for, matches throughout the rest of this weekend because we got more going on, but we will see you in the next one.
Goodbye.